Welcome to Thoughts Roundup. I appreciate you being with me today. We have a great guest with me today, Brother Starr, from way off up in Minot, North Dakota. Good to have you.
It's good to be here, Brother Marler.
Well, thank you. I am enjoying being in your church.
Well, we're just delighted to have you.
You have a great church, of course you know it, but you have a great church, and the people are so nice and so friendly, and we had a good service tonight.
Thank you.
And well, let's kind of start off. How long have you been in Minot?
14 years.
14 years.
14 years.
You know, I came to this church before that. Boy, time is going by.
Yes, it is.
If I'm not careful, I'm going to wind up getting old. Yeah. Well, okay, so we get to tragedy kind of out of the way. You had a lot of tragedy lately.
Yes.
Your dad passed away, COVID. Your mother passed away. Your brother also, did he have a heart attack?
Yes, my brother was 44. He's 12 years younger than me, and he died of a heart attack.
Now, where was he building a new church at?
Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
You know, I think you're a little too soft-spoken from a
Well,
camera.
I'll try to talk a little louder then.
Okay. Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
You know, I saw his wife out in the service tonight, and she came up and spoke to me, and the children. I know she's going through it, but she's a good Christian lady and got a lot of intestinal fortitude, you can
She
tell.
really does. It was 2 months after my brother passed away, she found out she had stage 3B cancer.
Yes.
And the treatments have been wonderful. She's doing well. They think she's going to be all right.
Think she's
She'll
going
find
to
a cure. Mm-hmm.
Boy, that is so super. You know, my grandson had leukemia, and he was just a little boy.
Yeah.
And the treatments worked. We don't know how much is treatments and how much is God.
Absolutely.
We know nothing would work if it wasn't for God.
Amen.
And he just spoke 3 times, I believe, in the Civic Auditorium down in Greenville.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, this week on his job.
Wow.
So he's doing real good.
Yeah.
Now, you have built some here. Well, tell us about your building programs.
Okay. Well, prior to me coming here, of course, we had, the church was founded by a man named Charles Bollinger,
Yeah.
and he's out of Lansing, Michigan. And then there were a couple pastors, and this, Brother Bollinger bought this property, and then Brother Gilbert Pearson was here about 24 years, and they built a lot of the buildings. And then a couple of years ago, well, it's been about 6 years ago, I guess, we added on to the sanctuary. We seat about 300 in the sanctuary now, and we have fellowship hall, and we're just debt free and
Debt free.
Got some money saved, and not enough, but some. We're gonna try to go to the next phase.
Next phase. Well, I want to tell you, folks, he's got one of the most beautiful locations. Minot is a very pretty city, and it's laid out. It looks like Buffalo ought to be just out there where the buffalo roam.
Yeah.
Did you tell me last night, I want you to tell this audience, you said not only deer in your backyard, but moose.
Yes, we've had 3 or 4 moose hanging around. I haven't seen them for a little while. Kind of hope they moved on because got a lot of nieces and nephews running around. But
Hey, get the children as a moose.
yeah, that's right.
I remember when I went to preach the camp meeting up in let me think. I shouldn't have brought up something like that. But anyway, the superintendent said, "Now watch the kids at night. Watch the kids because of the bear."
Yeah.
Well, coming from Louisiana and Texas, that sounded like the strangest announcement. Watch the kids for bear.
Yeah. They better not be making fun of Elisha either.
Yeah, that's right. Bald head.
Yeah, go up thou bald head.
I wouldn't say a word. I wouldn't say a word. Well, I want you, we was talking this morning on a subject, and of course what I'm doing is still trying to think of where I was at the camp. But,
Yeah.
but we were talking this morning about a time that you were going to a camp meeting.
Yes.
I think it would be interesting for the listeners to think about, hear you talk about what it took to get you there.
Sure.
And how excited you were.
Oh, man. My dad went to a place called Kaufman Cove,
A
Alaska.
little louder.
And he started a church in a logging camp.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a logging camp. And the only way there was by boat or plane.
Boat?
So,
also.
boat or plane. That's the only way. There was no highways. There was no other community. And so...
And they wasn't 747s either.
No, they were little bush planes. And some people died in those planes.
Yeah.
So it was... But we wanted to go to camp meeting. So Dad had 6 kids. And, of course, and a wife. And we started out, we went by airplane. And
Now, to go to camp, you started
we're
out.
going to go to camp meeting. We started out in an airplane, and we flew, and then we got on the Alaska ferry system, a boat, and we spent 24 hours or so, maybe a little longer, on that boat. All right.
Yeah.
Then we got to the mainland where we could drive, and we got on a yellow school bus. It was a church bus.
I remember that you said yellow school bus.
Yellow school bus.
After all that. On the same trip.
On the same trip. And we still had about 24 hours to drive. And I'll never forget it because, of course, there weren't restaurants around, so it was whatever. And some folks had brought sandwiches, and they pulled those sandwiches out, and they'd been in a lunch pail for a couple days, and they didn't smell the best. But and the radiator kept leaking, so we'd have to stop the bus.
But you had to go to camp.
But we were going to get to camp, and the men would go down.
The radiator, you had to stop the bus.
So we found a jug and go down to a river and dip some water and fill up the radiator and drive a little longer. And it took 24 hours, and we finally got to camp meeting. So we started out on a plane, went on a boat, and then we were on a bus. And when we got there, we wanted to have church.
You was ready for divine worship.
We were ready. It wouldn't have mattered what they preached. And there was good preaching. But we worshiped. It was great.
You know, this is something, and for folks today, they may, I might go, I don't know, you know, and they can live around the corner and not go to the camp, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But y'all were hungry.
Oh.
My mother used to tell me, of course, that was a way back from that, but how hungry they were, and to go to camp meeting, first camp meeting, one of the first camp meetings ever, and they just had one pair of shoes, Mom and Daddy, that was good enough to, nice enough to wear to Sunday.
Yeah.
So, but they were also, you couldn't tell the difference of men and women. So Dad would stay home one night and let Mama go to the camp and wear the shoes.
Wow.
And then she'd stay the next night and let Dad go to the camp and wear the shoes.
Amazing.
Hungry.
Yeah.
Now, I remember in Texas, when I moved to Texas, the camp meeting was in Lufkin. Had the Angelina Hotel, and we weren't used to staying in hotels, you know. And we'd go, and after the camp was over, I remember thinking, how in the world are we going to ever stand to wait a whole year before we get to come back to camp?
That's the truth.
You know, I'm glad we're making this little program. Maybe somebody, and maybe we, will realize the value,
Amen.
of services.
Yeah. It wasn't very fancy, and it wasn't, I don't even know if everybody sung the right parts, but boy, did we have church when we got together.
Just sing, that's what, at the camp meeting.
Just camp meeting.
Well, I am so glad to be with you, and we're going to have a good time at the men's retreat like?
Just kind of an overnighter, but we are excited. You're going to tell us stories around the campfire. Our men are so excited.
Well, I hope that it'll be good.
It will be.
Well, thank you for being on the program.
I'm honored, and I
Thank you for the invitation to be here.
We're delighted to have you.
Yeah, everybody loves you.
Well,
And if they don't, I don't like them. God bless you.
thank you.